Hello, welcome back. My name is Dr. Steve Jones, and we're talking in this series about the connection between longevity and community. In our last episode, we explored the science behind why social connections are vital to a long and healthy life. Today, we're going to dive into the other side of the story, the dangers of loneliness and social isolation. So let's start with looking at the growing epidemic of loneliness. Loneliness is often called an epidemic, and for good reason. Despite living in an age where we can connect with anyone, anywhere, many people around the world feel more isolated than ever before. In fact, surveys show that loneliness has reached record levels, with nearly 1 in 3 adults worldwide reporting feelings of disconnection. The impact is staggering. Researchers have found that chronic loneliness increases the risk of premature death by up to 50%. This means it's as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, and it can rival obesity in its effect on health. But how does loneliness harm us exactly? The answer lies in our biology. Humans are social creatures. We are wired for connection. When we're isolated, our bodies interpret this as a threat. Stress hormones like cortisol then spike. That triggers inflammation, and it weakens our immune system. Over time, those problems can lead to heart disease, diabetes, depression, even dementia. So understanding isolation in everyday life is complicated. Social isolation doesn't always look the way we expect. It's not just the elderly living alone or the shy person avoiding social gatherings. It can affect anyone, regardless of age or lifestyle. Consider this. You can be surrounded by people and still feel isolated if those connections lack depth or meaning. Think about how often we rely on superficial interactions, a quick text, a like on social media, brief exchanges with coworkers. But we neglect deeper, more fulfilling relationships. And technology, for all its benefits, it plays a significant role here. While it allows us to stay in touch with distant friends and family, it can also give the illusion of connection without the substance. Scrolling through social media or participating in group chats cannot replace the mental and emotional benefits of face-to-face interaction. So the impact on isolation on mental health can be staggering. Beyond our physical health, loneliness can profoundly affect our mental well-being. Studies have shown that chronic loneliness is a key contributor to anxiety, depression, and even suicidal thoughts. When we feel disconnected from others, it's easy to believe that we don't matter, that our presence or absence makes no difference. But the effects of isolation aren't limited to the individual. Communities and societies as a whole suffer when people feel disconnected. Trust erodes, cooperation declines, and opportunities for collective growth diminish. Addressing loneliness, then, isn't just a personal responsibility, it should be seen as a shared responsibility. While the consequences of loneliness are serious, it's important to remember that isolation is not a life sentence. People can and do find their way back to connection, often in small but very meaningful ways. Take the story of a man who, after years of isolation, joined a local walking group. What started as a simple commitment to physical exercise blossomed into a supportive social network. Or the woman who began volunteering at a food bank and discovered a sense of belonging that she hadn't felt in years. Examples like that just remind us that it's never too late to rebuild connections. The first step might feel daunting, but even small efforts can ultimately yield profound results. Guys, remember, loneliness is a silent killer, but it doesn't have to be. By recognizing its impact and taking steps to foster deeper relationships, we can protect our health and enrich our lives. Okay, that's all for this episode. In the next episode, we'll explore what thriving communities look like, and we're going to glean some lessons from cultures around the world that really excel at fostering connection. I'll see you then.